All right, we're getting ready to do our cold bore shot. We've got the cross set up on a bigger tripod today, a little bit more stable, I think, and a little bit more comfortable to shoot. We've got a spotting scope set up with a mag view so I can use it as a spotter while I'm out here. Got my dope book set up. My cold bore is going to be this 168 grain boat tail hollow point 41.7. That seems to work best through this rifle. Working with some more 178 grain ELDXs. I've got 1539.2 grain, 1541.3, and then 2042.4 max load. Now these are the full length of the magazine that I can actually feed them. So I went ahead and extended them as far as I could to see if that helps me with their accuracy a little bit on the max load. All right, I'm getting ready to take my 500-yard cold bore shot with my 168 grain bow tail hollow point. Setting the scope to 2.8. All right, so we are holding center. Looks like we have about a 4:30, somewhere between a 4 and a 5 o'clock shot, about 4 or 5 inches off center. That's a 12-inch target, so I would say maybe a little over 6 off center actually. All right, getting ready to do some grouping with the different loads I have. We'll go ahead and start with the lightest and work our way up. All right, we're going to start with our 39.2 grain powder load. All right, first one was a little bit low, and the next two were a little bit high. Not exactly happy with that group, but I'm going to move on to my 41.3. Well, I forgot to hit record on that one, but you can see it down the lower right. I'm happier with that group than I was with the other one. All right, switching to the 42.4 grain. That one in the lower left. Well, obviously breathing was a factor with that group, but it was a lot better than it was last week. So 42.4 max grain just got my attention. I think we'll fire one more group, try and do a little bit better job of breathing with that 42.4, but it's definitely firing better than it did last week. I think I'm just more comfortable shooting right now. I was a little bit worn out by the time I got to the 42.4 grain after setting up the range and everything that was going on before I started shooting. So I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with the setup, and I'm much happier with that grouping. I'm going to take a break, let the barrel cool, and then I'll fire one more group before I start moving on to other things. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shoot my grouping. It's been about an hour since my last shot, so I expect my cold bore to be a little bit different. My first shot should be a little bit different than the grouping, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, 42.4 grains. Get my hearing protection on. I think the first shot's going to be higher than the next two. I'm going to shoot at the upper right target. Top of each other. Let me zoom in just to verify. Yeah, I got the two first shots are right on top of each other. The last shot I dropped a little bit. That was breathing. So definitely not a bad grouping. The 142.4 is doing really good today. And I did it all out of frame. There's the grouping. I was aiming at the bottom target. The camera was aiming at the bottom target, but that's the grouping anyway. Two on top of each other, and one dropped a little bit. So that's actually a really good grouping for that 42.4. I've got some seriously renewed confidence in that load.